Live from the Injured on the Go Just Call Mo studio.
It's a blast!
It's Orlando's own Tom and Dan.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We're live on Twitch and YouTube. Come join us. Just search for @Tom and Dan Live. We just upgraded all of our cameras. The full broadcasting system in here is brand new. Come check it out.
The Orange County Library is doing their book fest on May 17th.
Big deal. They're bringing in some heavy hitters.
Yeah, Brad Meltzer is going to be there, and he's coming on the show, actually, so we'll get to talk to him.
When did we find that out? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can I bring in my daughter? I know that's super weird, but she is a massive fan. She has almost all of his I Am books, which are small biography books for children based on almost anybody you can think of. I think they've done Dolly Parton, Waylon Jennings, Barack Obama, just those three.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, they like a lot of other people.
The big three, I get it.
The big three. Waylon, Barack, and Dolly.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows. I don't know why
what kids want to learn about.
Those are the three I thought of, but he's done hundreds of them, I think.
I've been waiting till we have a guest that my sons would be excited about, and I don't think it'll ever happen.
I can make it happen.
I can make it happen. Did we get Queso?
No.
That would be the only one.
No,
he's a YouTuber.
He's too big of a YouTuber. We'll never get Queso. In fact, Tom messed up the name of Queso and he confused it with another lower tier streamer called King Queso. And then SJ, the guy that's been helping me with all of these computers, reached out and wrote a letter to King Queso saying, hey, can you come on the show? Then he had to write another letter to him saying, hey, you're not the guy, we don't want you anymore.
No, actually.
Yeah. I've never talked about that. I've never talked about how uncomfortable that was.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. When your kids look up to streamers, it's hard to get, Balloon Dragon 45 in here. These guys are busy. Balloon Dragon 45 is a busy man.
Jeff and Casey Howell.
Hey, the Howell.
How are y'all?
My favorite father-son duo.
Oh, awesome. Good.
You're my favorite. You're my favorite.
We made it.
Actually, it'd probably be the Wolves.
Jacob and I'm blanking on his father's name.
Yeah,
Josh Wolf. Thank you.
Anyway, so Jeff, you were talking about you're doing something with Sunday Morning coming down.
Our buddy Joseph Martin.
Yeah,
and everything.
Love that guy.
Love Joseph. Love his wife Jessie. Just beautiful people, incredible musicians. Well, he's had that show Sunday Morning coming down about 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
More. Yeah.
It's got to be going on 20,
Might
right?
be 20, yeah.
Because I remember.
It might be. I think we've celebrated some of the marks we just blew through, maybe. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, I started interning at the radio station in 04, basically, 03, at the end of 03. So, and I remember Sunday Morning coming down.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Around that time.
Yeah. He's been doing it a long time. God. Well, anyway, he had a gig at the Lucky Lure.
Love that spot.
And great spot. The owner is super nice guy, Mike. And when I got there, he did something that I don't really like, but I get
when
it.
I meet a bar owner,
not the
and he pulls his penis out.
No, not Mike.
I like it. Personally, I'm into it.
So you don't have to pay me.
I look at Tom and I go, I want to work with this guy. Like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, but when I walked in, Joseph, I said, "Hey, Joe," and he was on the air, and I'm just bringing in my stuff and just putting it to the side. And I wanted to get a beer, and Joseph goes, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Howell, right here. Well, then you got to be Mr. Mayor for the next 20 minutes, shaking hands with people who haven't seen you.
You know what? You need to
kissing hands,
you need to
shaking
update
babies.
the analogy. People hate mayors now.
Oh, yeah.
We need something else. What's something that people want to meet?
Yeah.
Because people don't care about mayors anymore.
That could be. Be. But I always equated it to that kind of, because
so you go into handshaking mode.
You got to. And, I love people, but I also love beer. I wanted a beer at that time.
I like beer more than
beer
people.
over people.
Yeah.
All day.
So I went to the bar, after, shaking hands. Hey, how are you doing? And the other thing there was this one guy, and the older guy, and he came and he goes, "You remember me, right? You remember me?"
What, Jeff? What? I feel like
you just said something that is literally his greatest nightmare, and he hates it.
And they do it to me all the time.
And it happens all the time.
It's they feel the like Jeff doesn't.
We're gonna complain about people liking us for a second. So just hold on tight.
I love.
Hold on tight.
People. I love people, but this does annoy me.
This goes in the category white local musician problem.
But it's also Jeff doesn't like awkwardness.
All nationalities. Really.
and Jeff, he's much like me in the fact he doesn't like to disappoint anybody.
Yeah.
So he goes
Very
in.
similar. Casey and
People
I are the
pleasers.
disappointers. Yeah.
They're my
That's
whole
why I've
life.
always liked this boy better. I was like, it's like they got the part of the brain that Jeff had that I hated and threw it away.
So he's in that mode of like shaking hands, and making sure
Jeff
everybody's
is
not
hard to
disappointed.
get out of a building. You are hard to get out of a building. If people are talking to you, you're going to linger. Getting Jeff to get on a bus is hard. Getting you to get on a cruise ship is damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Like Jeff would never turn down taking a picture with Jeff.
No,
or
no,
like
I've never
seen him do that.
He'd never be like, not now.
Yeah.
I'm busy. Or
I have never seen you do a not now. If somebody said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Or something serious. Or, hey, I love that song. Or, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, and I made a trip from England to see you cricketers. You will always take the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Always take the time.
And that's why the hey, do you know what my name is people prey on us. Because they know that we can't be, like, it's almost like they smell the weakness of
Get us into a corner. You back us up.
Yeah.
And then
Do you think it's fun for them? Explain.
It has to be. They're sick. They're mentally ill.
Okay.
It's a lose-lose
I told
scenario.
you hated this. You probably
There's
didn't
no
believe it
winning.
when I said it.
Yes.
Like, this happens so often, and
Yeah.
you probably thought I was exaggerating. I'm not. Like, there have been times when we've done a gig, and we get into the car, and the door's shut, and he'll go, God damn it, why? That guy!
They're bullying us.
Well, but here's the deal: is it's hard to realize how many people you actually meet on a small time level that we're on. You know, we're local. You know, and. But there's no way to remember everybody's name. And if you don't remember that, or you don't even remember the incident, you know, that it's not a character flaw. You just don't remember. But they take it personally. People get really, and this guy just kept going, you better remember me. You better. And finally, I told him in front of his daughter, I said, you have to quit saying that. Stop saying that. Stop it.
Oh, yeah. So that's where we differ.
Okay, now you did something that I like that's different than what I would have done. I would have done a variation when he said, you better stop saying that. I would have said, or what?
Yeah.
That, because I would have gone straight to violence. I don't know why I always go to violence. I'm the smallest person I've ever met, and I always go to violence.
Hobble over to him.
Well, you got something to hit him
But
with.
I liked what you did. I liked that you went the overstop where you were like, stop it. You must stop. I like that.
I did one finger up.
You're shaming him a little bit, too, when you do that.
I guess so. But his daughter goes, he's really drunk. And I go, I got it. But anyway, that's not even the story I wanted to tell you. Okay?
We're on a story
I'm going to
journey.
forget you even harder.
Did you ever get to the hey, I don't remember your name?
Oh, no. I told him this. This is what I told him. I said, I recognize your face. I don't remember your name, and I don't remember where. Well, I always go, cricketers, because that's pretty much.
You can get like 90% of them there.
It's a shot in the dark that you may hit,
Yeah.
and who knows? But I've never actually hit their name. Sometimes I'll guess, and I'll be like, Jim?
I get a lot of them. I get a lot of them for social media because a lot of their social media interacts because of the BDM page, and then I see a lot of the horrible lives that they have, and that is lodged in my brain for some reason. You know, tragedy. It's
back to the story.
But back to the story. It wasn't even that guy. Jack Youngblood was sitting at the bar, and
No, I got that. We were talking about football
That was
players.
before we started recording, Jeff. It's out there
He does
outside
this
of...
to Russ too, and I like
Very
it. I like
inside
that it
joke.
has now made it to our show. This is great.
I just want.
That's all he does.
That was me telling Tom, kiss my ass. I'll tell the story
I
how I want
actually
it.
love that. That was so good.
No one understands the reference. Anyway, sorry.
So anyway, what happened was finally when I got and again, I love people, but you know that's a little over the top. You know, you better remember me is a little over the top. But anyway, I go to the bar and the bartender who I'm totally cool with now. Okay.
Oh no,
And
God, Jeff, this doesn't sound like the Jeff I know. The
I know,
Jeff
it
This
was
is a young Jeff Howell getting into it.
was
you are fumbling things.
It was
now.
a bad start. So I finally get to the bar. So, it's 15 minutes. I'm standing there. And it's hot, outside. And I want to get my equipment in and everything. So I just want a beer. So this girl at the bar goes, yeah. Let's get you a beer. We're sitting there.
Let's get you a beer, baby.
Yeah.
The baby's back.
And the bartender, who I'm totally, I love him to death.
Oh, you
And
must have done something
yeah.
wrong. Did you yell the N-word in their face?
No.
What did you do?
No. We went more the gay route. But anyway.
But
I didn't.
I knew it.
The gay N-word?
You smelled it out.
Have you even heard the gay N-word? It's horrible. A lot of people, like when they hear it, their heads explode. It's so racist.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But no, I didn't call any names or anything. All I wanted was a drink. But anyway, apparently he just he just kept walking by, and the girl,
And he's like, I'm going to kill this mother.
Yeah, and I was standing there about 10 minutes. Listen, and so anyway, and every time he would stop pouring a drink for somebody, he'd go like this, open his hands up like anybody else, and I'd go like this, and then he'd just kind of walk off, and I went. And so the girl said, as he was coming back by, she goes, I don't think he wants to get you a drink. And I
don't think he wants to get you a drink, baby.
I said, yeah, I must be invisible. That's all I said. And he went, oh, yeah, like I'm supposed to pour you a beer at your command at any time, drop to my knees, and blank your blank right here in front of everybody.
Jeff, you're screwing this all up. This is way out of control for you, Jeff. I've never heard you do
too
something.
early for this.
He screamed that at me.
This is a Tuttle story. This is something Tuttle does.
He screamed it at me, and he said,
I believe it.
I'm supposed to get you a beer and drop to my knees and blank your blank. And I said,
there's a lot of opportunities for jokes here, too, that you're missing.
I said, I didn't know that was an option, but now that I do, I'll take two. So, but anyway, what happened was he was really mad, and then later on, I guess he talks to B. Rhoda. He goes, Jeff Howell, and I said, yeah, and he goes, hey, man, hey, I didn't know you were as big as Ale as I am and everything. I think we'll get along fine like that. And I went, I said, what'd you say? And he goes, I said that I didn't know you were as big as Ale. I said, I heard you the first time. Just give me my beer. Anyway,
and he made it worse.
And he went, oh, like that. And he kind of respected that. So we shook hands.
And then you squashed it.
No.
Squash the
then a little bit later on, I just said, let me make this right. So I bought him and his buddy who were bartending. I bought them beer, shots.
A shots.
We did a shot, and then we made up, and we were good friends after that. And all night long, I was going, y'all take care of my man Jared.
But
y'all
you
take
still
care
don't
of
know why he was mad at you, right?
Well, somebody told me that he'd had a rough day the day before.
Oh,
yeah.
Sometimes I do that. I have a rough day. I come home. Take it out on my family.
Well, in some
screaming at him like a wild animal, breaking things, just throwing things at the wall.
I don't know what I've been up to all day.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to throw the TV off the balcony in front of your wife and daughter to let them
Assert
know.
dominance.
The Magic lose the game, they get blown out.
Yeah.
Fifth foul on Paulo with an elbow, you throw the TV off the balcony. Maisie's is tears coming down her cheeks. I'm like, that's great. Tom taught me that.
But anyway, we made up. He's a good guy. We made up everything. So
good.
He got me a beer. I was cool with him.
But anyway, so Jack Youngblood.
Jeff and Casey Howell. Like I said
this
earlier.
ties in, actually. It's a perfect. Like,
Speaking
literally,
of
without
beers.
even knowing, you tied into what he wanted to ask you.
So, I'm curious if you guys remember your first.
You remember me?
Tied in twice. Oh, my God.
I can't get away from this.
Everything. The chemistry today. Somebody said it in the chat room. Somebody in the chat room said that was like, the chemistry. I was like, feels good. Feels good.
If you guys remembered your first father-son beer together. Because I my son's going to middle school next year.
Before you take it to a positive place, let me throw mine out there. Don't remember it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I try. I'll try. Maybe it'll come back to me.
You mean when you had a beer with your dad?
Yeah. I can't remember it. Now he's gone.
Do you remember the first time you had a beer in front of your dad? Because I remember, obviously my real dad died too young, but my stepdad, I remember I was 18 and we were doing end of the year graduation party in my backyard, and we got a keg, and my mom was
cool.
like,
that's cool. That's top tier. That's top tier.
Yeah. It was 99.
Yeah, hey, you don't need to explain it. It's cool even now.
I think the drinking age was 15 then.
Yeah.
And,
we were still in World War II.
But and obviously I had been drinking a long time before that, but it was the first time it was daytime, and my stepdad was he was in his work clothes, and then I was drinking a beer in front of him, and I remember it being weird that he was he acknowledged that I was drinking a beer.
I don't remember it.
Talking about going to college.
It just became commonplace. I remember a cigarette now. I remember a cigarette. He caught me in the driveway. I was obviously, of age to smoke cigarettes, but he didn't want me smoking cigarettes, even though he chugged them like a chimney.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he came
He's
out and he's like, just so you know, I don't want to find any cigarette butts around my house.
Leave a little meat on the bone for me.
And then the best part of that story is after my dad chewed my ass out, he went inside. My mom came out with a heart condition and said, "Give me the cigarette," and she puffed on it crazy because they were all smoking.
Yeah.
Everybody in Florida at one time was smoking the cigarettes, and it was awesome.
You know, my dad it came up to me when I was engaged.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, my dad came up to me. This is the only advice.
Who?
My dad. No, I wasn't engaged to my dad. Yeah, my dad came up to me
this is gonna
when
be
I
a
was
weird story.
engaged. His mom.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and sorry. I'm going through some painful stuff right now. You're right, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, because she came up to me the other day and she goes, "Do you remember me?"
I like that.
Love it.
Deflected.
Yeah. No. But what happened? He came up to me and he got me in the backyard. This was you were engaged, and he goes, "Son." He goes, "Let me tell you about marriage." And I said, "Yeah," because I wanted all the advice I could get, you know. And he said, because he was out there, we were in the backyard, and he was smoking a cigar. He says, "You need to be in control of your marriage, okay? You're the man. You need to be in control of your marriage." He goes, "Take these cigars." I smoke my cigars anywhere and everywhere I want to in the backyard when your mom's not at home. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
The moral of that story.
But that's a thing. Like you're touching on a trope that is like the quintessential.
But maybe it is just a trope, but no one remembers.
You see the dock. And you see the sun, the orange and yellow sun on the water, and you see the silhouette of there's a young boy sitting down, he's fishing, and then you see the dad walk out, and the dad has the same silhouette as the boy, the same body. I'm picturing Tommy, you're walking over, you got your pole with you, and you're just carrying 2 beers, no cooler.
Yeah.
It's the double beers touching each other, and you're holding both of them, and you come out and you pop them both because that's what the dad does. You pop it and hand it to him. That's the move.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've created in my brain.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then you just sit there silently looking straight ahead and then enjoying the first beer with your son. Jeff, did you have a first beer with your dad? Do you remember anything like that?
Yeah, it was a Falstaff beer. It was horrible. And he just said, "Come here, boy." And I was like 10.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
10.
I was 10, yeah.
Louisiana.
My son's 10.
Yeah,
You better buy some Falstaff. You're doing it wrong.
He goes, "Come here, boy."
Those were considered non-alcoholic back then.
You're right.
It was at a place called False River. It's a long story, but it's a big lake, but they call it False River for whatever. Anyway, he had an ice chest. He pulled out 2 cold Falstaffs. Goes, "Come here, boy," and he popped the top and he gave it to me, and I popped the top and I sipped it. I went. And at that time, I always heard about how good beer was, and it tasted horrible to me. And I went, "Oh, my God." I said, "This isn't that good." And he goes, "Yeah, it's not really that good. Pull your pants down."
I was waiting for that, and you got me. I knew it was coming, and I'm like sitting there like,
Why
this.
can't we get a real story?
No, I want no real stories. In fact, you're not asking no real stories. I told him before we came here, I said, if you do any real stories, you get the hell out and take your son with you. You got me.
This isn't a sentimental show.
I figured it out. My dad was a bourbon guy. That is why I didn't have that moment. Now he would bring beer on the camping trips, and we never had that moment. He was a whiskey. He was a whiskey and Coke guy. So he would have a whiskey and Coke. You know? And I tasted that, and it tastes. Whiskey and Coke to me is it's an acquired flavor, you know. It's a weird, caramelly weird flavor.
And if you're doing your stereotypical first drink, whiskey and Coke is not it. It's some cheap beer or whatever. You know. But you didn't do Casey. Your dad didn't do that.
Well, I think our first beer together was preceded by 12 other beers. So we don't remember any of that
this
night.
Is awesome. Yeah. Hold on, that's the Howell way. Like you up the ante, man. I have never. Now, not to say that I wouldn't have. But I don't think I would have. I never got drunk with my dad. I probably got drunk in front of my dad. But I never got drunk with my dad.
And it wasn't stereotypically drunk.
That would have been an awesome thing to do. That would have been fun. I would have liked to have gotten drunk.
I got a call one night about, I'd say about 11:30 at night. And Dad, my car is broke down. I need you to come get me. And he was a junior in high school. And he goes, I'll come get you. Where are you? He goes, I'm on the median of John Young Parkway.
Wow, you were really drinking.
Yeah. And I said,
I got good young.
Yeah, you sound like Tom.
I said, it's a long road, Casey. I said, where are you near? He goes, there's a big church right here. And I go, well, what church is it? He goes, Take your pick. What?
Okay, hold on. Context clues. An area where there's many churches.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't ask him if he was drinking. I knew,
Yeah.
So I drove
How?
and I found him. I found him. So he had his blinkers on, and I pulled up. I put my blinkers on, and I honked the horn, and he opened the door. And when he did, it was like he was falling forward in slow motion. He just opened the door and went, "Run, Daddy!"
Yeah.
I don't think I said daddy.
All right, I can cut that out for you, man.
Well, he did
I'm
af-
on your team here.
He did after I made
Papa.
him take his after I made him take his pants down.
I knew it. Not what I was ready for.
My pants were already off.
You know, another thing I realized is I'm out of practice. And you got a good ninja gotcha on me,
Thank you.
and I'm not going to let it happen again.
So I go get in the back of the car, get in the back of my car,
Yeah.
and I'll take care of this. In the meantime, his friends drove up, and they said, "Hey, what's the matter, Mister?" I said, "Take him home."
Why's he got his pants down, man? What the hell are you doing over there?
Daddy,
No, I said because the church.
I'm playing now.
No, because the church was a Catholic church, and I'm not gonna
Okay,
get two
this
for
is
one.
allowed.
Yeah.
This is allowed. The Pope just died. It's what they do for holidays.
Yeah, so his friends drove him home. I stayed there. Fortunately, the cops came, and I said, no. I said, this is my son's car. It broke down. I said, but he wasn't feeling well. And there was no way they could get him for drinking because he'd already left the scene.
Right.
And so I got home. He was still awake because I told him, I said, you go to bed and we'll have a long talk tomorrow. Okay, so when I got home, he's still up. He's walking around the house and everything. And I said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Come here. I love you." I said, "But yeah, you effed up. We're going to have a long talk tomorrow." He goes, No. I want my talk now. And I went, "No." I
Just
said,
get it out of the
I'm
way,
just
man.
like you. I'm just like you. I
Yeah.
want to take my talk when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
I never want to take my talk when I'm sober.
Who does?
I said, "No, I'm gonna talk to you at the most uncomfortable time. With tomorrow you're
Yeah.
gonna be hungover,
Yeah.
and I want this to sink in." Anyway, it did. He did great. He's never had an incident since then. Yeah.
I had one of those with my best friend Dave's dad, Dr. Smith, our veterinarian. I've told that story.
Ah.
He called me over to his house the next day because he realized something was up, with me going home. And he pulled me aside and had at the office talking.
Yeah.
And oh man,
Yeah.
that'll rattle your bones.
Yeah,
Ooh,
back when other
cold
people's
sweat.
fathers could talk to you. And
You know,
stuff,
it is weird. I don't think he ever called my mom or my dad
Yeah.
to ask permission. And if you are a grown man now and called somebody else's son over to your veterinarian office to tell him he shouldn't be drinking and driving, you would be arrested.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know,
only
That's an
encourage
old
them
world.
at
That's
this
old
point.
world communication.
You used to be able to hit other people's
Oh,
kids.
yeah,
I
that
missed
was-
that. I missed that.
you don't. You didn't
I'll still
mess
do
around.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will. He will do it.
Yeah.
I've seen him do it. He did it over here in Publix.
No, but could
It's
you
just a
imagine,
backhand. It's never a forward.
like, just smacking
white
some
collar
other
hit.
Yeah. It's a very
Yeah,
much a Sean Connery. Sometimes
Just a little slap.
Yeah, just a little slap.
Like, and I even remember where my buddies' parents would tell my mom, like, if he's if he f's up, slap him in his face and do whatever you want to.
I
like,
know, isn't that wild?
You know,
Yeah.
like, and you know,
I said that about Maisie. I drop her off. I'm like, hey, if she messes up, just slap her in the face. It works.
We had babysitters that were allowed to spank us.
yeah. But like,
Welcome back to Trauma Talk. Unpack everything.
You know, if
I
you're
never got hit. I guess that's why I'm awesome or something.
Casey was so good and that I hardly ever had to punt, but every now and then he would push the limits. But he
You were
has.
probably mouthy, I would imagine, because you're
Mouthiness,
witty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was such
Cut to the
he was
jib.
such an even keel kid, and then every now and then he would, the kids get their dander up or they they want to test and he has such a good imagination that he can do anything by himself. So I would go, God damn it, Casey, stop it. I said, do you want to do a timeout? And he goes, yeah, sure. And I take him to timeout. I put him in his room
You're
and I come
only?
back.
Half only.
Okay, but there's a lot of only running around in there.
Yeah.
That is an
You mean only child?
Yeah, that is hard. You to give me a timeout, I'm like, you just handed me COVID. Lock me inside. I'm good with being locked inside.
Yeah, he would be in there and just
Please.
he would be doing his imagination. I go, well, that's not working. So
Yeah. You can bounce into your imagination because
Yeah.
you're sort of used to it, and it is a little more of a kind place.
I did have to yell at him because he kept asking for toys when we went to Albertsons because I'd
They
buy
have
them
the best toys.
the little knockoffs of the Power Rangers.
Oh,
when he
yeah.
was there. Because they were $1.50, but I kept buying them and finally I went, you know what, Casey, I'm not going to buy you a toy every time because, only when we can afford it, that kind of BS.
Sure.
But I just didn't want him expecting that to
Casey,
get
we're
entitled.
poor, okay? Get through your head.
Yeah. So finally, one time he started crying that I wouldn't get it, and so I said, "You come on." I said, "Look around this room." I said, "There are toys everywhere. You should be lucky that you have aunts and uncles and grandparents that buy you toys all the time." I said, "Do you know there's some people that don't even get toys at Christmas? Do you understand that? Do you understand?" And he's crying, and he goes, "Daddy, I'm not," I said, "and if I tell you can't have a toy, don't cry." And he goes, "I'm not crying because you wouldn't get me a toy." I said, "Then why are you crying?" He goes, "I'm crying because I'm so happy." And I started crying, and I bought him a Nintendo 64
I love that. Yeah.
with my pants
You pulled the
down.
manipulation
Yeah,
switch.
exactly. You got to
That's
know
an
how to
only
pull
child.
those strings early.
You might
God
have more
damn it.
only than you know.
You
You might
know
want to
what?
get tested because
Yeah.
because I'm a pure only, and purebred onlys will manipulate some shit.
Yeah.
Y'all shouldn't have me on the show. Casey will just show up from now on.
What are you talking about? I'm having the best time I've had in a
awesome.
very,
Oh,
very
good.
long
Awesome.
time.
Reliving my
man.
childhood.
But
This
I
is
keep
great.
messing up. Sorry.
I'm gonna have a lot to talk about at therapy.
When my dad,
week.
when my dad had his stroke, he couldn't remember any of the punchlines to his jokes, and it actually made him better.
I wonder what his excuse is.
Yeah, it's just like a silver lining.
So, okay, Jeff,
Yeah.
what about tough love? Because
Yeah.
I'm having a problem with tough love.
Well,
It's,
it's just not how you're wired, dude. You're not a
You're a
let him
soft
pry
lover.
it out guy.
yeah. It's like the quintessential. Your kid goes to jail.
Yeah.
and you're like, you just let him sit in there.
Yeah, I've
And
experienced
learn his
Not you.
lesson.
Yeah,
This guy's
okay.
dressed up like a
We'll
rabbi
talk
with
about-
a file in
Yeah.
his butthole.
I've experienced.
No, oh,
I've
really?
had some hard time. I've been in the clink.
You went to the clink?
Yeah.
Tell
I've made a
him
bunch
about
of
it.
Can he
friends.
talk about it?
Yeah, of course.
Did you have to eat a sea meat sandwich? Tuttle did. Tuttle had to eat 4 sea meat sandwiches. He
Dude,
said he's never been the same.
What happened?
I got arrested for public urination.
Hey! Oh, my
My
God.
boy with his pants down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and your kids with pants down.
Hold on. By the way, this
It was
is
always going to catch up to you, wasn't it?
this law makes me
I wanted to get caught.
this law makes me the most mad, and it is mainly like New Orleans, and
Yeah.
like that's where you hear a lot
Yes.
about it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so fitting that it would be you guys too, man. That is in the blood.
and then I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wait a minute, New Orleans,
Yeah.
like you advertise, come party
Yeah.
over here. So-
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, drink a drink that's 4 feet tall.
Yeah, and your whole economy is based on tourism and partying and drinking and
Yeah.
getting drunk and the casinos and
Yeah.
like
And everything smells like piss.
which doesn't help.
Facts.
And then but you don't build enough. You can't have public restrooms
No.
because they annihilate them, and you're not putting your like any tax dollars
Yeah.
that you're getting off this tourism into public restrooms. And then so you like everybody come here, and then you're like hire a bunch of cops on horses to arrest people that pee in this. What do you think is gonna happen?
Hey, hold on a second.
So you're
Those
almost-
horses are allowed to pee.
Yeah, I know.
And they're big, hot, steamy
That's
pee.
who was in the drunk tank with me.
This is entrapment.
Yeah.
This is straight up entrapment. Did this
tell,
happen here?
Tell them about your roommate, your cellmate.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, so were you in New Orleans?
No, I was here. I was in downtown Orlando.
No,
Saddle up.
We hosted a bikini contest there, and I think I may have urinated.
Yeah,
That was
Are you
our
a
last
sponsor?
bikini.
I asked him. I said, Casey, are they a sponsor of yours?
No.
Okay, I said,
no. They
Casey.
shut down,
I said,
actually.
why did you pee on Saddle Up? He goes, why not?
Sure.
Hey.
I went inside. The line was really long. I didn't trust myself to hold it. I found a nice secluded alley. It was dark and everything. I went down there. I pulled my pants down to my ankles. I didn't do it.
Pants down, pants down.
All the way down like a 4-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm peeing, and I'm like a minute and a half into this piss, and I feel somebody tap on my shoulder, and I'm like, buddy, I'm busy here.
Oh, you did the buddy? I've always wanted to do that where you're doing something terrible, like you're rewiring a security system, and you're like, hey, beat
Hey,
it.
buddy, yeah, here. And I turn around, and it's an officer, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, officer. I just dropped all my water on the ground.
Well, that's good.
My pants
That's a
down.
Tom Van level excuse right there, buddy. That's good.
So I try and walk back into the bar.
We got a water dropper here.
and he grabs me and he's like, no way. Immediately throws me in cuffs, puts me in the car, and I'm like, well, this night went terrible.
Yeah, this is bad. You didn't even get to see the bikini contest at Saddle On.
Yeah.
By the way, you were in an alley. You weren't like in technical public. Like you were trying to like
conceal it.
You know, so
I
you
was in
just
pubic.
you're like cars are going by. You're in the street like
Yeah,
a
no,
crazy
you're not
person.
doing that, yeah.
You know, so
It's a
it's
weird.
insane.
It is. It's always been a weird one to me.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So they arrest you.
Arrest me. My buddies start calling me. They're like, where are you?
Hey,
I've
are
been
you
gone
peeing
for
on the floor
30
again?
minutes. The cop picks up my phone, and my buddy thinks that I'm now playing a hilarious prank on him.
Oh, this is gonna get a lot worse for you, Casey.
Sure. Yeah, you got arrested, huh? But no, they took me downtown, processed me, threw me in the drunk tank.
Were you worried?
No, I was gone.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
I was more angry. I kept saying, "This is just a fine, man. You can just find me and let me go."
Oh yeah, I've seen these
That's,
videos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Tell them about your roommate.
It's a good thing you don't have a temper, because I always worry about like because I don't. It's been a long time, and I'm an older guy now.
Yeah,
you know?
sure, yeah.
But I think I don't know. I run my mouth a lot.
Yeah.
And so when I see the videos of people like Jordan's son, when he was in the back of the cop car and he's just chirping crazy, I'm like, oh my God, that could be me.
Yeah.
Because I have that tendency in me, I think.
It's not illegal to be a D-head to the cops.
No,
And they
it's
say
not.
it makes it worse, and it doesn't. The charge is the charge.
Yeah,
They can't make up.
they got the protocol.
Yeah,
They
it's
got
all on video.
cameras,
You're
yeah.
allowed to talk ass if you want. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So tell them about the roommate, though. Tell them about
So in
the cellmate.
yeah, my roommate. He became my roommate afterwards.
Well, you guys still live
And-
together now, right? Domestic partners now.
In the drunk tank, I'm there with one other guy, and his name's Keith, and he's like a 77-year-old dude, and we'd start, sharing stories, going back and forth.
Hey, I like to pee at bikini contests
He's
too.
like, "What are you doing?" And
I was at Saddle Up too, but I took a deuce.
I talked to him, and he said he was arrested for vagrancy, which I guess is just criminal homelessness.
Yeah.
This is what I consider all of them. Ew.
Uh-huh.
So
Disgusting. Once I found out he was homeless, I'm like,
Yeah.
stay on
I'm
your
like,
side,
get away
okay?
from me, man. You should start with that, right?
But yeah, we went back and forth, and I was like, "What were you doing? You being homeless?" He was like, "I was riding a train, and they threw me off the train." Oh my God! I was like,
They tried to execute me off the train. I stole their gold, so they said they're gonna kill me execution style by launching my body off the train.
"So you've met Keith?"
Yeah, my father is
Yeah.
Keith.
This is a while ago, so it was a real train back in Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
Before Sunrail.
By the way, this is a Jeff Howell senior level story.
Oh,
This is
yeah, absolutely.
fantastic.
Oh, wait, did you get
The
to
blood lines run through.
Yeah, truly, man.
Yeah, so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, "What are you doing on a train?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go visit my mom for her 99th birthday." I'm like, "Oh, that's beautiful, Keith. That's wonderful. What a heart of gold on this man."
Yeah, sponsored by Smuckers, right? Yeah, 99. I wish her happy 99.
And yeah, we keep going back and forth, and I eventually am like, "Well, how are you getting out of here?" And he's like, "Oh, my mom just posted bail." And I'm like, "Keith, man, you cannot be putting her through that.
On her birthday.
She's about to be 100 years old, and you're
I do the
bailing
level of
her.
love,
Yeah.
the level of love that some parents have,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I know I have that. I think I have that, but then sometimes I hear stories like that's not a
God.
question, my love.
Imagine
Oh, sure.
living to 99 and you're bailing out your homeless 77-year-old
Yeah.
son. God
for
damn.
peeing on a train.
Did you get to meet her? Did you
That's
see her?
rough.
No,
Did they
I
call
didn't get
him?
to
Were
meet
they
her.
like, all right,
she was
Kate,
in South
she's here."
Carolina.
Yeah.
She just sent
She was driving
a
from
bundle
South
of money. Yeah. She pulled an all-nighter.
Yeah.
What a waste of police time and funds to arrest Casey Howell for peeing in the
That's what I say.
I think it was tax money well spent.
I mean, it's a good story, I
Yeah.
guess. you
Yeah,
know? I mean,
yeah.
what did you get a call this
Oh,
time?
I
or
got a
not?
call. Well, one of his,
Yeah.
the friend that bailed him out, the mom called me. And by the time she called me, the processing, it'd go.
Right.
And she goes, Jeff, and it's like 2 in the morning. I go, this, one of good friends of ours. I met them. Our sons played lacrosse together. In fact,
Oh, right on.
And so the
Lacrosse
mom goes,
buddies.
Jeff, and I go, what's going on? And she goes, it's about Casey. And I go, what? Because you think the worst. I think the worst always.
Yeah.
I go, what happened? She goes, no, he's okay. He's okay.
He's got his pants down, but he's okay. Sorry, I just
No,
That's Keith.
Yeah, he's here. He's got his pants down.
and she goes, I'm gonna tell. I said, what'd he do? And she goes, I'm gonna tell you, but you got to promise you won't be mad. And I said, I can't promise.
I hate
that.
it when people do that because I get mad so easy.
It's also,
I
why would
promise
you
I
say-
will be mad.
Yeah, it made it sound way worse than it is. Like,
Well, yeah, but she didn't know how I'd react.
Okay.
And she goes, look, he is such a good young man. So I'm thinking violence or, something maybe breaking in a store or something.
Oh my God, Jeff.
Yeah.
Know your child.
Murder.
Breaking in a store.
Genocide.
violent
I thought
breaking and
maybe
entering.
I thought maybe human trafficking
Yeah.
and maybe I thought sodomy.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're going to violent breaking and entering.
yeah.
I mean, when I look at him, he looks like a sodomy rape guy.
I mean, he's a great kid. I don't know him that well. But anyway, so I
wasn't raised right.
She goes, promise you won't get mad. So finally I just go, okay, I promise I won't get mad. What did he do? And she goes, he got caught peeing in public. And I went, "Wah!" And I laughed and I went, oh my God. I said, we're all good. We're all good. And I told him, I said, look.
Say no more. I'm peeing in public as I take this phone.
I've never seen him more proud.
And I did tell him, I said, Casey, everybody has done it. I said, you just got caught.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you got to watch that. You got to watch that. So
Yeah.
it was all good.
The Howell family tradition, like Lieutenant Dan and his father before him.
Now it's just the urine, right?
Yeah, he didn't poop.
I
in
didn't-
public.
I didn't get caught for pooping.
What I mean is the infraction because it's burned
The
in my
and/or
Yeah,
defecation.
well, it's burned in my brain because I see these commercials. Like everybody's like, I love '90s commercials, and this one that's going around right now on TikTok and Reels is the golf club that was made so you could pee in it on the golf course.
No, yeah.
And whenever I see it, they have a little towel that goes over it, so you don't see anything.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, wait a minute. If I want to pee.
Yeah.
In my Tesla, into a vessel, I should be allowed to pee. Is the infraction that I'm urinating on that I'm? It's
Yeah,
waste.
I think you can
It's
go
the
in your
waste.
car. You can.
As long as I'm covered, like I can put a towel over myself and I can pee in a big gulp cup if I would like,
Yeah.
and then take the cup and then pour it into a toilet and flush it when I can
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Okay.
And that's fine.
Sure. But
It's the waste outside of a toilet. That's
Sure.
what the charge is.
Well,
Because you
again-
weren't exposing yourself to anybody's my point.
Yeah, I think it's public urination is a
but
separate charge.
that is that because if it was if they didn't enforce that, then everybody would pee in public a lot more often.
Yes,
you know.
yeah,
And next
you're
thing you
right.
know, you got and next
And
thing
next
you
thing
know.
you know, we got India over.
Yeah,
Is that
but
what people say though? That they get
Yeah, oh
mad?
yeah.
But go with the ticket. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
like
that's what he
Casey's
tried.
That
Yeah.
was my argument.
Yeah.
I was-
Click it or ticket.
officer.
Yeah, get a ticket and then move on. To take someone to jail and you got to
See
spend time in
something,
jail.
say
But he got to meet Frank or whoever it was. Keith.
Other, and it was an experience. I've never been arrested.
I've never been arrested. Yeah.
Really?
All the stupid.
That is.
All
You
the
should be
stupid
insulted by
stuff. No,
that.
no, knock on whatever you got to knock on.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been arrested, and it's crazy. So yeah, we don't talk much.
I guess I've never been arrested. I've been detained.
Yeah, I've been
Have you?
detained a couple times. Like even like in Miami, curfew violation, which is it's funny because you forget about curfew violation.
Curfew?
It was-
You do.
Yeah. There's
The bar's
I've
open
been
till like
detained.
4.
yeah, I was. It was if you're under 18, you can't be out on the streets
Yeah.
past like 11 p.m. It's like there's literal curfew, and like
Yeah.
me and my buddy were walking to Subway, and it was like 11:30, and
Health
then
kick.
and the cops just picked us up, took us to the precinct or whatever, and then to call our
Call
parents.
your mom.
Yeah.
I've been detained a bunch of times.
Have you?
Usually just like radio host, just yelling, screaming at my wife in the middle of the night. And they come by and they're like, "Hey, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And then I'm like, "Can we keep this on the DL?" But if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
Google all of them, all the greatest ones do it. Me, Tom,
yeah.
all of us do it.
Yeah. I like the 911 calls.
They're great. They're great. Andrea, sometimes
Because your wife's always yelling in the background. Yeah. And then you're yelling, "Don't call anyone." What are you on the phone for?
Yeah, I'm like, put down the phone.
Yeah. This is gonna end up on the internet.
Yeah, I'm gonna break the goddamn phone.
When you yell, they don't like it when you yell, but to break the goddamn phone.
Oh yeah.
I call that the Mel Gibson.
That there was a time where it would have to hit the news for you to hear that. Now it's just all over.
I
the
feel like
internet.
there was a time if you could get to the phone before she got to it and throw it in a lake, you're good.
That
It's not
absolves
like
you
that.
of the crime.
It's not like
yeah.
that anymore. It's not like that
Yeah,
anymore.
but speaking of just getting into minor trouble when you're young, it does suck that
I'm not going to have that.
the
I have
younger-
a rule follower. I don't think you're going to have it either.
Well, it's just the younger generations now, whatever they get into or whatever mistakes they make,
Sure.
Does end up on like a
Everywhere.
permanent record of
Sure.
the internet,
Oh, yeah.
where it's like pictures and things that were
Yeah.
and it's so easy for everybody to see now
Yeah.
that it might as well just be in everybody's back pocket in
Yeah.
their phone. Like you search your name and then whatever mistake you made, here's your mugshot.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
it's like that's unfair. You know what I'm saying? Like and then like
Unless it's mug shotties. Are you guys on mug shotties?
I have a wonderful mugshot.
Yeah.
No. Mug
Tell me about your
shotties,
friends.
or it's
that-
mug shorties, I
Yeah.
should say it right. But it's all the hottest women from mug shots.
Oh, that's nice.
Mug shotties is awesome.
Yeah, my
Should I look at it? Can I look it up?
I don't know. It might have been expunged or something.
Did you? Oh yeah.
Well,
Sometimes.
you can look at it. You can look it up if you want. Yeah. But tell them what your friends did.
Yeah, my friends made T-shirts, free Casey on it with my mugshot on it. Yeah.
Those are good friends.
Those
Yeah,
are good
those are
friends.
good
Yeah.
Good friends. Those are like
Absolutely.
lifelong friends. I feel.
The first gig that he ever played with me, he was in high school. He was a senior in high school, and he came out and he was so nervous. And I said, "No, you're going to be fine. You're going to play the first set. I'm going to give you all the tips from that set." And all his friends showed up, and they all had. It said "I heart Casey."
Yeah,
But then one of his closest friends just had "I" and a big penis on Casey.
Yeah.
We were
That's a
closer
friend
than
too.
you know.
Yeah. The one that goes the gayest is your best friend. Everyone knows that. That's just
That would be hard to pick.
That's just
Out
Then
of,
you
my,
got
out of my boys?
then you got good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then line them up.
He does
Out of my
have great-
harem?
Yeah. Then line them up like sweet little baby angels.
He's got
Kiss
great
every
friends.
one of them.
So Casey, where are you going to be playing in the next couple weeks?
Well, tonight I am in Cherry Pocket at Lake Wales.
All right.
4 to 8. On Saturday, I will be back at Cherry Pocket. I believe I'm 6 to 10. This says 1 to 5 here, but I'm
Oh, I
6
thought
to
you were.
20.
Oh,
You might want to
my
talk to your
phone's got-
publicist here.
Yeah, absolutely. Get my intern.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay.
intern's scrambling over there. I fire that guy.
Yeah. We'll get there at 1.
Yeah. He's got his
and
pants down.
Stay till 10. Yeah.
Sunday, I will be at Tibby's in Winter Park doing brunch there.
I love
11 to
Tibby's.
12.
That's the drunkest I've ever been. Is at that Tibby's.
It's a great place, isn't it?
Well, it's just an easy place to drink beer. Oh man, that's a fun place. And you know what goes good with beer?
What?
Is all their delicious food.
Oh,
yeah.
my God, spicy beer and or spicy food and cold beer.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
And where else are you at?
And next Tuesday, I'll be at the Whiskey, Sand Lake, 9 to midnight.
All
All right, there you go.
Come check me out.
So can I just reiterate that I had a great time at the Lucky Lure. I love everybody there. I love the owner, love the bartenders. You know, because I told that story.
Oh, yeah,
And you know how people sometimes
Yeah.
hear a story and tell somebody, those guys were absolutely wonderful. I loved it. Please go down and support those people.
It's a good
Take
spot.
care of your bartenders. Yeah, I did. We just had a little incident and we resolved it, and now we're friends.
You know what? I don't really have incidents anymore because I don't have any friends or go anywhere. I don't go anywhere.
Yeah. I was when you came in today.
Yeah.
I was like, man, if you would have told me, bet which one of these guys has a cane in 20 years, I would have been
Beat ya.
wrong.
Beat you to it, buddy.
You know,
Who's the champ?
It is crazy that, because I literally in my younger days, because, I was on the road at I just turned 18.
Oh, very young.
Yeah.
I was on the road, and I mean, it was hardcore, it wasn't death metal hardcore, but we drank a lot. We had a lot
We
of
partied, man.
Yeah.
We had a lot-
And you played every
we were
night.
cool.
Yeah, and this
back
is
then.
before they invented, chlamydia or whatever. So we
we're
were
talking
doing-
the 80s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So anyway, I always told people, I said, I'm only going to make it till 52. I don't even know why I picked 52, but I just said I'm going to only make it till 52.
God, I got 4 years.
I know, and then I got to be 51, and I went, okay, I might want to re-up on this a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
And but for whatever reason, I just did my blood work. Everything right down the middle.
That's what
awesome,
everybody says right before they die.
Yeah.
You ever notice that?
Healthy as an ox.
You ever notice that? Everybody, my fattest friends will come in and say, like, check out this blood work. And I look at it, 2 weeks later, dead.
Well, what it tells me,
Mine is too.
it tells me that drinking's not that bad for you.
Yeah.
It can't be. Like, you know, like there's no.
Well, it's only bad for you if your genetics align with it to make it bad for you.
Yeah.
Right?
When you pickle something, it lasts longer.
True.
Yeah.
Nick Swartzen came on the Monsters last week.
Yeah, he was in there too.
Yeah, and I was there, and he was talking about because apparently he
had
went off
drinking
the
problems.
deep end,
Yeah.
you know, and so he's all sober now. And I'm just sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, no." He goes, "I've won drinking. I've beat, drinking. I've done everything you could do drinking." And I just went, and I go, "How old are you?" And he goes, "Well, I'm just turning 50." I said, "Wait till you get to be 62 and start back. It's fun." And he was pissed at me for trying to make him drink again.
Yeah, I think he still struggles with it a little
Does
bit.
he? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Then I feel bad.
I also don't think he's. I think
thought
he
was a nice guy, but you
Oh,
know,
super nice guy.
Yeah,
but I
I
think
love-
maybe he dabbles now and again. You know?
Oh, kind of like the Bubba thing.
Maybe I think. Yeah.
I mean, Bubba.
I think any time that people with a true utter addiction draw
yeah.
a hard line in the
Yeah.
sand, I think you're setting yourself up for
I don't
failure.
think. Here's one of my thoughts on it is that you actually, if you're forced to quit drinking, that's the hardest. You know, if you F up or you go to jail or
yeah.
you do something like that and you're
Life-changing.
Yeah, it's life-changing. That's the hardest to beat. When you just do it so much and you go, I'm destroying my life. I need to change and do it. Those people last longer.
I think so.
But, I've done 10 years sobriety. I've done 5 years. I've done 2 years. I mean, I've been on this earth for a long time, but I got to tell you, when you start back, it's great.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Well,
We're
Lovely,
pro.
yeah.
We're very pro drinking here.
Yeah.
You realize you're like, I can keep it under control.
Oh, no, I do that.
The beast won't get me this time.
And
Yeah.
even if you can't, just saying that makes you feel better. I've
The
noticed
endorphins.
that. I've noticed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I should say, good for people who quit drinking. That, if you got a problem, take care
Stop,
of it. and everything.
you're
stop
weak.
apologizing for everything. Take a stand, and we're going to stand in our business today, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff said you're weak.
Yeah.
You
He
can have a
also,
couple.
I saw in his eyes, see in hell.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, Casey, Hal, thank
We love
you
you
very
guys,
much,
man.
Thank
you guys
y'all.
for
No,
coming
we had a
in.
great
Can I
time.
make one
Thank-
amendment?
Yeah,
I
please.
am at Cherry Pockets from 1 to 5 on Saturday.
Hey, who was right?
Who was right?
Who was right?
Trust the paper.
my
Trust
God.
The paper. We
Always
write
so-
it down for a reason.
Yeah. Do you know Samantha, our former producer, wrote everything down for years. We never looked at one paper. Not even one.
We don't know how to read.
In fact, we're very proud of the fact that we did the entire run of her being here. Some would say our greatest decade, no paper.
Yeah.
Didn't use one.
Do me a favor and tell she and her husband Travis.
I will let 'em know.
Please tell them we said hello. She
do
is
it.
so
Oh,
lovely.
she's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll let her know for sure.
All right, we will see you tomorrow. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, and you can be here with us. Just search for @TomandDan Live. Join the chat room. Join your friends. Talk to people. Watch the show in brand new Magnifique 4K.
The Orange County Regional History Center has a brand new exhibit called The Collected, and that's 150 different items that are personally picked from 150 different individuals around Central Florida.
Yeah, personally
Me and Daniel
curated.
are one of them.
Yeah, we're in there. Brendan O'Connor's in there. Really famous people are in there, not just us schlubs. But what's cool about this is it's a very personal and very Orlando. It's celebratory to Orlando.
Yeah.
You're going to get some weird stuff in there. Mine is weird. I won't tell you what I picked, but I think you'll like it.
Also, every third Thursday, they have basically free entry after hours. So look it up at thehistorycenter.org.
Yep.
And just become a member. It's easy. They also do summer camps as well and a lot of things. And you can find all the information out on their website.
We've been beating this drum for a couple of years now. Become members of a lot of the great organizations that we partner with, and you will never be bored. You know, if you like being on the go, if you love Orlando and you want to celebrate cool stuff in Orlando, well, the History Center is one of many that we work with that give you the most Orlando-centric things that you can do.
I need to get my kids in some camps because they just want to stay
I just
home.
signed Maisie up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We did it. Well, I didn't. Well, I talked about it with my
Yeah.
wife. Andrea did it yesterday.
See, but she's a camp girl. She likes
is a camp
camps.
girl,
She likes
yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
She likes
She's on the go.
Yeah. My sons don't want to do anything.
Right.
They
They're
wanna-
like me.
They just want to play video games at home and do nothing else.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, you can't live like that.
So what you're telling me is your sons want a taste of the cane life.
I'm gonna go.
Bring them on over to the cane life.
You know what? I should
Let me get
show
them 2
them.
little canes.
I should show them
The cane life, the sweet
yeah.
cane life, sugar cane life, as I call it, baby.
Just like scared straight, and then you put
Scared
some.
bent.
Yeah, use your cane and you put some sugar on the lips.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, well, I would put the sugar on the bottom of my cane and I'd rub it on Max's lips and I'd be
Yeah.
like, now lick that off. Real seductive like. Real seductive like, you're mine, bitch.
Hey, I like the cameraman's like,
Is he allowed to say that? Is this real or not real?
Is he scaring him with pedophilia?
I don't know. What is that?
It's like,
Is this guy a pedophile or just a tough guy playing a pedophile? I'm not sure.
anyway.
Okay, it's Weird Job Wednesday. I did something I normally don't do. I went non-AI, and then, you can't do a true country.
Non-AI?
I went non-AI.
Oh, that means it's not good.
It's not going to be as good. It's not going to be as good. This is a new song. This is a brand new Weird Job Wednesday song. I haven't done this guy because he's a very controversial artist. I know a lot of you are thinking, yay. I'm not talking about yay. Ladies and gentlemen, the first time I've ever attempted something, Morgan Wallen. Let's get it. Cadence in this is fast, too.
You say I'll never change. I'm just driving around town in my pest control van wearing someone else's name. Just trying to gas a raccoon playing. And how do you explain falling in love with a guy who unclogs drains, then turn around and call me lame? I work on Wednesday. You just sit on your fat ass. If I'm so awful, then why you spend this bugman cash? You fell in love, girl, with a termite killing elf. You hate that when you look at me, you halfway see yourself if it's a Wednesday. You know I'm working my weird job.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
That's
It's a little
good.
Morgan Wallen. Little Morgan Wallen. Very controversial figure.
I like that.
That's it. You know what? I will say, hot take. That's a catchy tune. I've been listening to it all morning. That's a good song. That's a very good song.
Crystal told me that
I do not like that man, but he's a good songwriter.
Why don't people like him? Because he
I
walked
think
out
because
of.
no, I think because he was winging around the N-word. And
Yeah, but
then whenever
Was
that,
he saying it with the A at the end?
I don't remember, but I think yes.
Because
And I
that
think,
makes 100% of the
no,
difference.
it
in the-
does. But this has been
'Cause he
kicked
just-
around by every morning show in the world. But you know what I'm saying? People,
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
polarizing. And some people,
Does anybody
some
care
people
about
are,
that?
a lot of people that I know, and there is a generation of people that if you use the A, no A, you said it on Xbox, you said it on PlayStation, I don't care, you said it, I'm done with you.
But even if you're a kid and you're saying it in that generation,
He wasn't a kid.
Where
That would be the argument.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm saying it was a while ago, right?
Yeah, it was years
more than
ago,
10
and
years.
I think he was doing it as doing it like a friend would say it on an Xbox. I think
Yeah.
I do believe that's how he was doing it.
Because
But I'm not going to defend it because all I'm saying is because I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is there are people that no matter how you say it, whether you're a kid, non-kid, you could be 2 years old.
Well,
and
that's
say-
ridiculous.
But I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Yeah,
there's people. You're surrounded by them. So look around.
No,
They're everywhere.
I'm looking at obviously us, and we don't care, and no one
I know,
around
but
us
I'm
cares.
just- well, I mean, we're speaking to other people. You know?
Yeah. It's
Unless I've forgotten how this thing works. But
No,
yes,
I
there
think
are
our
people,
listen-
there are listeners that will tell me, yeah, I don't like that guy because of that. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it seems like his intention not to be racist.
I mean, you can either win this argument or talk to Shayla. Your choice, buddy. Your choice. I'm giving up. I'm going full
I'm
Crystal
trying to
here.
figure it out.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be figured out.
Anyway, Shayla, how you doing?
I'm excellent. How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
Typical frustration. You know how it is.
Have you used the N-word with the A at the end? You did it once, right?
Not today.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, they wake up, they're screaming in the pillow.
In the 90s, it was going around. Anyway, so Shayla, let's talk about your weird job. What was your weird job?
For almost 10 years, I pierced ears in Claire's in the mall.
All right.
Oh, now we're talking.
Ear
And when I
piercer.
say the mall, of course I mean the Volusia Mall.
Okay. So in the
Wow, that is a blast from the past. That was my favorite mall.
Volusia County Mall, you pierced ears at Claire's. So was it in like one of those middle kiosks?
No, it's a store like it's like an accessory store for young kids, like young girls, hair accessories and fake jewelry and stuff.
Okay, so what we just did is we got Claire's, which I guess would be considered a competitor of Piercing Pagoda mixed up.
That's it.
Because Piercing Pagoda was the freestanding one in a kiosk. Now
Okay.
that was made in 1969, believe it or not. It was like a husband and wife team that created that.
Yeah, I remember the piercing pagodas in
Yeah.
the middle of the mall, but
They've since rebranded because it's not cool anymore. So now they're called, what is it called? It's called, I had it here. They rebranded to something that was like super corny. It's called it's Banter. It's like Banter by Piercing Pagoda.
So
I had not heard that.
Yeah.
Claire's was founded in 61.
61, so Claire's is the older company. It's crazy to think. And Claire's has always done female accessories and piercings?
Yes.
Interesting.
So Shayla, let's talk about the training when you're an ear piercer at Claire's. So how old are you at this time?
So I was around, I guess I was around 20. And I was actually the trainer for the entire district. So that was Jacksonville to Altamont.
Oh, my God.
All right. So
And I was only 20, up to 20. I think I worked there until I was like 27, 28, something like that. So right in that pocket. But at 20, as early as 20, I was training people how to pierce ears.
Wow.
all right. So what's involved in the training? I'm sure there's age restrictions, right? You have to be over 18 to make a decision. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, over 18 to be a piercer. And the training is, as you can imagine, not great. They don't have even like a video or anything. It would just be me explaining to someone how to do it, like how to clean the ear, how to mark it for keeping it straight. And then also we'd have them bring a friend in to practice on.
All right.
Did
So-
you? Okay,
So-
and can we rewind just a second?
Seems like a liability. I'm no lawyer, but
Yeah, it does. Now I didn't know anything.
Am I correct in thinking that you were using the little gun or the little piercing
Yeah.
machine, not?
Correct, a little gun. That's right. We were using it.
Because now, and no offense to this job or anyone doing it, but I believe it is sort of frowned upon. The gun is not really looked upon as the best way to pierce ears. And the reason I found this out is my wife, when Maisie wanted to get her ears pierced, my wife did, Andrew, he's going to do all the due diligence and the work.
Research.
Yeah, and then everybody's like, no, you got to go to an officially licensed Florida piercer that has the proper training with the sterile instruments, and they will pierce it by hand. They will use no gun. There's no gun. They use it's gloves.
I like guns.
I like guns too. I'm a gun guy. But
Why not use a gun?
No, they're like, no, it's gloves, and then you got to go in there. So I had to take Maisie to the equivalent of a tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
And I went up to a place, and shout out to Drift. They're right up here in Orlando, right in our little Milk District area. And they were so great. And the lady that pierced Maisie did a phenomenal job. But I didn't know that the gun is sort of looked upon now as like, what are you, a monster? You never do that. And I'm like, well,
What's wrong with it?
I don't know.
It's definitely embarrassing now to tell someone that that's what I did. And of course, I was proud of the job at the time. Like, I was like, well, I pierce ears. I thought I was cool or whatever. And now to know that that's the complete wrong way health-wise to pierce ears because they say that it's a puncture wound. So you can crush the cartilage, they say. There's all different reasons why you wouldn't health-wise want to use a piercing gun. So that's what I was training people to do.
Yeah, and she's right. The short of the long from what my wife explained to me is I think the thinking is that someone that's trained to use the sharp needle the way it's intended to go in the skin at the proper angle will not damage anything versus it's like they're like a surgeon versus the gun is just and then it just heals up and you get what you get.
All right.
And you could have a wonky Like, you could have a wonky stud in there. You could have, like, you may have crushed a little bit where there's some scar tissue. I know my ears have scar tissue in them, like the holes.
Yeah, for sure. And they say it's like super unclean. Like, I didn't know at the time, like a bad risk of infection. And we saw a lot of people with infected ears, but the way that the training worked was we were supposed to blame that on the client, that the client didn't keep it clean once they left because we were using a sterile ear.
I like that. That's funny. That's really funny. And not to be a Tom here, but I don't understand.
It's just a lobe. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't understand why. Okay, not to ask the question that you're probably thinking. Why is still, again, I understand the crushing. I understand maybe it's not as technical or as, what do you call it, precise.
Precise, yeah.
But, like, it should be clean because aren't you using a new cartridge or aren't you cleaning it? Like,
yes, you are cleaning you clean the ear and you clean the cartridge, but the gun itself is never, like, wrapped. And, of course, you wear a glove and stuff, but that gun just actually sits out all day on the counter. So,
oh, yeah. It's got some hummus house in it.
Yeah. It's got doo-doo particles.
So the vessel isn't clean. You can't really sterilize it.
I like to take my piercing gun to the bathroom with me when I take it too.
Well, let's talk about it. In all your years of using the gun, did you ever have people come back with ear infections and they're like, "You did this to me"?
Yes, lots of times.
No. Okay, well, shut up now. He likes that. You know what? That's the first time he's ever asked a question and somebody said, and yes, I did. A man came back with no ears. And Tom was like, I accept that answer. Thank you.
Hold on. Did you say, wait a minute.
No, you can't do a hold on if she said yes.
Did you do this yourself at home when you were cleaning it? Put your dirty fingers in there?
Sir, I believe that's double jeopardy.
That's how we were supposed to blame it on them. We were supposed to.
I know Mr. Claire. And if I was anything like
him. Thump and chop the air? You're not allowed to do that.
If Mr. Claire knows. You blame it on the customer.
Yeah, it's perfectly clear.
We would apologize for their incompetence in keeping it clean.
I love apologizing for other people's incompetence.
It's one of the best techniques I learned. It's probably carried me through the rest of my life.
I hate to
I'm
say
sorry
it,
you're so stupid.
It is a worthy black magic skill, is it not? That is a worthy black magic skill.
So let's talk about what type of people you would pierce their ears at Claire's at the mall. So
only the finest.
What do we
so let's talk about my favorite, which is when people would want to bring in their infants.
Okay, yes. Okay.
This is how Tom this is Tom's land, right? This is in Miami.
So, Shayla, before you talk about this, I thought about this last night before I went to bed. I couldn't sleep thinking about this. That's how crazy I am. Because I was like, oh, yeah, we're talking to Shayla, piercing ears. And then I was like, piercing babies' ears is a thing, especially in Miami.
Big money in Miami. Do people know that before this podcast, Tom and I thought about starting Tom and Dan's Latin baby piercing?
We have Tom and Dan's baby earrings.
We do.
On
we have Puerto Rican baby earrings online.
Yeah.
And we ordered so many because we thought it was going to be anyway.
So then I started thinking about the whole tradition of piercing your baby's ears, right? And then I came to the conclusion of it's fine.
I like it when the baby still has the black, like the malleum or the whatever that black stuff is, and the red blood from the mama. I like it when you do it as the placenta is being saved.
So this is how I talked it through. I was like, all right, the baby doesn't know nothing. It's just like
it's already crying. So if you pierce it while it's crying, it's a double.
And the babies are tough. They'll be fine. They won't even remember it. Whatever. If you want to put earrings in your baby's ears, that's up to the parents, and the parents obviously want to do it. It's makes them happy.
Less harmful than religion.
I'm like, I don't care. It seems like no harm, no foul for the parents, for the baby. But then I started thinking about Shayla and the employees that work at these places, and
I couldn't do it.
And you're being asked by a parent
to shoot a baby with a gun.
To stab a blunt force trauma to an infant's ear, and one at a time for infants. So, and they had to be 3 months old. What do you
mean one at a time?
And how could you even know how many months old they were?
That's true. It's just like baseball.
That's the thing. That was the number one thing for piercing babies was all the lying. People were lying. It's not their baby. Grandma has the baby for the day, and she's like, I'm going to get it pierced.
Oh, that's the abuela.
That's super sneaky abuela.
Yeah. The abuelas in Miami, they'll just run off because if you're
But you know what? All they have to do is cook for you. It's all fine.
If your Spanish son married some gringa and she's like,
yuck.
you're not,
We
piercing
don't
my
do
baby.
that in this house.
That abuela's gonna steal your baby and go and pierce his ears at the mall because that's what are you?
That's not your
crazy.
baby. It's not your baby.
It's against God's will.
You were literally just a vessel to bring the baby into the abuela.
So,
And,
Shayla.
yeah, and then also the other lying would be that people would tell me that the baby was 3 months, and it like the earlobes would be so tiny that like I
Gotta
would
use
be
a
like,
tiny gun.
I would be so scared because this little one was just so tiny, and like you click one ear and this baby's wailing, and then you have to physically hold the baby down.
Yeah,
to
it's like
get
a circumcision. It's one step above circumcision.
So, how crazy is this that someone's
This might
asking
be
you
our
to
worst.
do this?
This might be our worst one as far as trauma goes, because this is a lot.
Especially,
a lot of screaming.
Okay, with all that being said, you're only paying this person and based on hourly rates, what are you
We have
making
someone in the chat room whose grandma pierced her ears. Oh my God, this is an epidemic.
To pierce that infant's ears, what would you say? How much money are you personally making from that?
Oh, it's just an hourly wage. So I just made whatever. I made like $2 over minimum as a trainer.
I mean, literally, she's just doing it for fun at that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like some parents,
I made $8.60 an hour or something. You know what I mean?
$8.60. I remember that.
And so let's say it takes you 5 minutes to pierce this infant's ears.
No, it's longer than that because I got to do paperwork,
or
right?
even 10 minutes.
Paperwork.
Yeah.
So you're making $1.
Oh, less, man.
Yeah, no, I didn't make any, and I didn't make anything because I could have stood there and claimed the gun was broken and made the same amount of money.
Yeah. So
Oh, so this is where you reveal to us you could have been a hero, but then you went ahead and did it.
I was a zero.
Yeah.
Could you imagine handing
why I love
someone
you, Shayla.
a baby
I love you.
and telling them for $1.80, stab this baby's ears, and this baby
For
does not.
$1.80, you can keep a baby alive in a foreign country.
Yeah, it sounds like Sally Struthers. It really does.
Because the baby the baby has no idea what's going on. So it may not even be crying when you stab the first ear, but then after you stab one ear, it is screaming because it's
that is the one thing I was going to tell you.
Evolution kicks in and it thinks it's being eaten by a lion.
Well, that's also the one thing I was going to tell you about the piercing, the big change in it. And the thing that I noticed is that and I have nothing to compare it to, but the gun does seem violent after you see somebody with their hand who's able to, with the sharpest piercing implement available in the world, you can't even feel it, right? Like it's almost like hypodermic at that point.
A baby would be able to feel it. I'm sure,
I don't know. I think babies would have less feeling in it because they also don't have the anticipation of going to the piercing place. So when we took Maisie, it was like a nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but she knew what was coming.
I think it works the opposite, and I'll sit here and argue it, and I'll just keep arguing it over and over and over.
I think when one needle by hand, the baby's going to scream.
It's like us. It's like we fear death. A dog doesn't know it's dying. It's not going to sit there and mull over the fact that it knows it's going to die. I think it can work the opposite direction. I think if you were to pierce the baby the correct way with something super duper sharp, it's not going to feel it as much. The gun is a lot more violent. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mark that.
It will feel it. It's even giving babies, shots and
But it's case by case because everybody feels things different.
Yeah. I feel like, did you ever have a baby just take it like a man?
Every once in a while, they would be so stunned or confused looking, and that they didn't really have much of a reaction at all, and that would be a gift. Because otherwise they'd be bucking their body and trying to kick their little leggies when you came at them at 20 years old. For me to approach this wee one, I didn't even have Delana at the time, so I didn't have my baby. So I was had trouble even maneuvering around a little one, and then to have to clean the ears and then mark it for to make them straight, because now this person's going to have them. I have my first piercings and I'm almost 50, so they're going to have them forever, and the baby is wiggling, and now the parent or the fake parent is totally upset as well, and they're holding the head of this infant down, this infant who's probably not even 3 months. We've lied there as well, and they're scared, and I'm scared, and the baby is screaming, and I'm supposed to make sure this is straight, sterile, and even for them to have for a lifelong body modification.
How much would that cost to pierce infant's ears?
That's a great question.
About $15.
Not $15.
Yeah, that's a bargain price to make your kid scream for a long time. But anybody can talk babies. And we've talked babies this, babies that. But what I really want to talk about is old man one earring. Let's go.
The gay ear, absolutely. So people would come in and they would want to get their ears pierced and an ear pierced, an older person, and would want to know in a very demonstrative way which ear is not the ear to get, and they would have all sorts of examples. And of course, I'm dating myself, but they would say, like, I don't want to look like I'm in Wham.
Yeah, that's where I was going. That's what my dad would have said. I won't look like no goddamn George Michael.
Yeah, so we would tell them, don't get the right one then. You know what I mean? Like, we would,
How did that come to be, the gay earring thing? Because it was a thing I remember my dad, like, you know how long I had to beg to get an earring? I had to beg and beg and beg to get an earring. And under the guise, I think I had to sign a contract that I wouldn't get it in the gay ear. I literally think I had to sign a contract with my dad. It might be still in the safety deposit box in DeLand.
I was in 5th grade. I was Tommy's age, and I got my left ear pierced, and I decided to get
That's the coolest thing it makes me think you're cool.
a skull dangler.
Dude, that's cool. That's way cooler than what I got.
1993 skull dangler.
That's a confident man's earring. I've never been confident enough to rock a dangler, bro.
And you know
That is confident.
what's interesting
Where
is
did that Tom go? Where did skull dangler Tom go? The confidence of a skull dangler? That's aggressive.
Well, this is what happens when your dad dies, by the way. my mom should have said, like, don't get that. What are you doing? Like, that's stupid. Like, she's like, all right, you want a skull dangler? Oh, here we go.
Load
We
him
go
up,
to
boy.
Claire's.
2 skulls.
We went to...
Dangler, 3 danglers. This boy, get this boy a skull dangler.
Yeah. And then...
God, I wish he still had it. That'd be awesome.
I remember showing up at school, and then everybody's like, what, they're making fun of me or whatever, and then I'm like, I made a mistake.
You know that still happens. There was a kid in Maisie's class that she came home the first day of school and I won't say his name. She's like, Frank, which is not a kid's name these days.
Yeah.
She was like, Frank came to school. He permed his hair and got an earring. And she was like, he looks ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, man, come on, man. Easy. Be nice.
So, Shayla, was it your majority task to train people to pierce ears, or did you do other stuff at Claire's, which I guess it would just be retail cashing people out?
I was the store manager, so and regional trainer, so I trained everyone to pierce ears all around, and I traveled around to do that. And then also it was my store, so I was in charge of everything, like the small amounts of HR that come with retail, to floor setting the merchandise, to bank deposits, and all that kind of regular retail-y stuff.
Did you ever do any partnerships with any stars at the time and get to meet, like, I don't know, the cast of Right Said Fred, or something, like the band or something? I don't know.
No, but there was some sort of thing with, and see, I'm going to flake on what the movie is, but that movie that goes, I caught you a delicious bass. I don't remember that guy's name, but anyway, the Vote for Pedro movie.
Oh, Napoleon Dynamite.
I knew it. See, I knew these stores
Okay,
like to
so-
partner with things.
Of all
Yeah.
the quotes from the Napoleon Dynamite,
Yeah, I
you
didn't
chose I Caught You a Delicious Bass?
Well, let me tell you why.
Dang
We were selling
quesadilla.
pens.
What?
At Claire's, there was a pen, and it said, I caught you a delicious bass, and we were supposed to push the button and ask people to buy it. So that's the only reason I even recall it.
We bought
But-
so many of these effing bass pins.
So every day, every checkout, I'd go, okay, and your total is this, and would you like the delicious bass pen? And then I would push the button. So that went on for way too long. But he didn't travel to the one in Daytona Beach at the Volusia Mall, but he apparently people from that movie traveled around saying, I'm with
Hold on,
Claire.
who'd you get? Ponytail, Pedro, or buck teeth? Which one'd you get?
We actually got nothing. We got furry-haired Pedro.
Who would you want? You want the brother, Kip.
Yes,
Kip?
better than.
Is that his name?
Well, he's the most famous now.
Yes, he's also
because
the-
of White Lotus.
He's also the funniest. And then John Hader, which was Napoleon.
yeah.
And then the ponytail girl, and then Pedro. He's pretty famous, too. Pedro's pretty famous, I
Yeah.
think, too.
Yeah. Napoleon got typecast forever after.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's very unfortunate looking, and they leaned in too early.
Yeah, and like there's
He went full Gandolfini first acting job.
and
I
he can't.
couldn't watch it due to the Claire's experience, so I have never seen it.
Oh, you got to... Well, no, you're not missing anything.
So, did you ever pierce like an extremely old person, or what's the most odd piercing besides infant?
Well, people would bring their dogs in and ask if we could pierce, like, their poodles or chihuahuas, and ask, like, can you pierce this? And, like, we declined it, thinking it was, like a cleanliness issue, but I guess I technically don't know if we could have done it or not. But I told all the girls on my staff, like, do not.
Wait, so people bring their dog? I never thought to do that. I might do that with my dog. Is that bad?
I don't know. If
it's the same as
I
the
don't
baby.
think it's the right decision, but I don't know.
No, but he's 2 years old, and I'm white. Like,
but all I'm saying is that they have no opinion on it.
I'll wear my cowboy hat when I take him to the vet.
There would be people that would bring their like grandma in a wheelchair because she'd never gotten one, and I always found that a little bit different. I definitely tried not to judge, but somebody who's very elderly and the thin skin, that elasticity is gone. So now you're like trying to place this earring and it won't even sit up straight
you tried to put a hole in as big as a donut hole.
It's so sad. But that was, at least they could sit and get both of them done. When you had somebody who was like around, it was worse when you had somebody who was maybe like 8 or so, and they actually just flat out refused to get the second one and would run around the store yelling at their parent, "You hurt me, I'm not doing this." And then the parents going, "Well, you have to make her get it." And they would sit on their own kid for me to hold them down, for me to try to pierce it straight and pierce it sterile.
God, Andrea was running around circles at a Buffalo Wild Wings yelling, "You hurt me, I can't do this," just a couple of weeks ago.
Again, it seems insane that this is your job as a young person.
I mean, she's basically a child. We're calling 21-year-old kids now, and she was 20, right? Weren't you, Shayla?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, but to stab children's earlobes that are trying to get away from you as someone else holds them down, and then it seems like a crime almost.
What about this one?
And also traumatizing to the minimum wage Claire's employee.
It definitely wasn't for everyone. Sometimes I'd teach someone how to do it and they were like, "Okay, I'm not doing that." And then I'd have them pierce my ear just to show them that like it's not always going to be traumatic. Some people are fine. I now have 14 earrings, but wow. that would try to calm them down. And sometimes it would work, and they'd be like, "Okay, you didn't have a reaction." And other times they would just literally bail. Like, I cannot hurt people for a living.
So hold on, Shayla. How big? Like, Claire's is a pretty big company. Not
Aren't they owned by Spencer's?
Not anymore, but I'm like at the time that we're kind of referencing, I imagine it was.
It had like 3,000 stores, I think, if I remember correctly, when I was working there.
So this just shows how cheap corporations are. Like, they never invested. Like, for sure, there's some sort of silicone ear and head that would mimic human skin. Was there any of that?
Yes, we had a piece of foam that was attached to a piece of cardboard that looked like an ear, and you could pierce through that. But it wasn't attached to anything, so you'd actually just have to have someone hold it. So you didn't get the correct type of feedback pressing it through. So you never really actually got trained on how it was going to feel, because the gun, one of them was spring loaded, but the other one was hand pressed. So you actually had to push fast enough and quick enough to push it through the ear, or the person was going to really get hurt.
Are you a spring man or hand pressed? I always go hand pressed, and I always go garlic crust.
I'm a butter cheese crust.
I knew you were. You sound like a butter cheese. I'll get down on it. As of 2025, Claire's operates how many, Tom? How many stores?
2,750.
She knows. She did her research. 2,750. That is a lot of stores, dude.
Still in America's malls around.
And expanding. They're doing these new little smaller versions. They're going back to the kiosks, and they're popping them in little strange places. And that's doing very well in the Middle East and South Africa.
So is there still, can you still take an infant baby to get its ears pierced? Have they changed any of those laws?
That's a great question.
No, I believe you still can. I believe it's. I don't think anything ever changed about that. That
Yes.
you could. It might change to 6 months, but I believe it's still 3. But you can still go and get your baby's ears pierced. And we did have an option for kids that were over. I think it was like maybe 3 or 4, where we could do both ears at the same time if they could sit very still and get it done. But that obviously made it a little difficult to get it straight because you couldn't adjust for. Oh, I missed the dot by a little bit, or it went in at a little bit of an angle, and now I'm going to readjust at the second ear to make them look straight. So we didn't always recommend it, but sometimes people would come in and say, my child has to get her ears pierced today, and the kid was already crying.
2 months is the age.
It says 2 months?
No, I just looked it up. Yeah, the actual.
No.
I'm looking at it right here. It's Banter by Piercing Pagoda and Claire's. It's 2 months.
I'm so sorry for the way that we've done this.
It's 2 months now.
Yeah. And
It's faster than ever. It's like a medical marijuana card. I'll give you an email.
And there's no way to prove it.
Yeah.
Like, there's not,
It's
you have to
very
show a birth
American.
certificate.
Very American to pierce your baby's ears, I feel like.
So
When we lose that right, when we lose the right to pierce our baby's ears, then it's over. Then it's game over.
Shayla, have you ever screwed up big time and really?
Yeah. So bad you had to throw the baby in the trash.
Yes, I have messed up so bad that it was very fortunate that the client didn't know what to expect or what it would feel like, because I actually removed it and re-pierced it right then and there.
Oh,
The baby double.
now,
Yeah.
is
But
there?
not on an infant, not on a baby, on an adult with some. There was like some old scar tissue or something happening, and when I went to pierce it, it actually just didn't really go all the way through, and the gun was sort of stuck to their
You
head.
got
and it was like a
lucky
whole-
you're piercing some helicopter pilot from World War II or something.
I didn't click fast enough. They zigged. I zagged. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I grazed them instead of really getting it. So I just removed what was there, pulled everything off, and was like, I'm sorry, that didn't connect, and went ahead and pierced their ear.
Oh, I like that.
What was
That's
the
a good pivot?
What was the corporate, rules about where on the ear you could pierce? Because I'm sure it's like lobe only, or could you go up the cartilage? I'm sure
We went up to cartilage. We could do anything on the outer ear. It was like they had it like numbered in positions. So it was like all the way up to like position 12. Like you could pierce, you can imagine like first, second, and third holes, right? So like going all the way around up to the top, you could keep going. So
Did you ever get any perverts in there that were like, hey, you pierce this?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I figured. Like, how would they do that?
Yeah.
How would they walk me through an altercation between a pervert?
Okay, so a pervert would come in and then act like they were totally getting their ear pierced, and then ask, like, is there any way you could pierce something else? And then, like, usually, because as females, we usually just, like, laugh it off when we're uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
you'd just be like, ha, 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 ha. And then they would
And then they will
actually
hold your hand down and go like, I'm not joking.
is there anything else you could do for me?
Oh, well, that's not piercing. I know what that is.
I'm like,
That's not what
no.
I was. That was not what I was.
That's what I
asking.
say at the massage parlor.
Yeah, that is a whole different animal. That is not what I was
And then
talking
I
about.
just give them the directions to Auntie Anne's or some American cookie company in hopes that they found
And then I'm
something
coming
that
back
is
and
there.
I'm going to be like, hey, the lady at Auntie Anne's will not pierce my penis.
Okay, so how did the Claires make the money if it's $15 to pierce their ears, which is nothing?
Jewelry, dude.
It's all jewelry.
Yes, so the piercing was free when you bought the earring. The cheapest earring was $15, but the highest earring was like $42 or something, and that would have been for a 14-karat gold with a CZ, and it would have been 5 millimeter instead of 3. But then also any earrings you bought that day were on discount, and usually you'd have to get the kid a gift because it was bawling. The gift of ear piercing wasn't enough at that point, so earrings were all buy 2 and get the 3rd free after getting the ears pierced, and usually throughout the day, and they had a 20% off coupon for that day.
You're saying then the dads are staying in there. A little bit of this happened to me. I didn't get upsold because I went to a different place, but you're not getting out of there without buying nice jewelry. You're just going to have to get some really nice, decent, run-of-the-mill starter earrings, don't get any garbage, and spend the right money and get right stuff so their ears don't get infected. And
Yeah.
you'll spend
And
some
that
money.
was another hard part, was telling people that they could go ahead and buy earrings because we didn't sell real earrings there. So then I was still again selling them something that could potentially hurt them.
Oh.
So we had earrings that were called sensitives because they didn't have any nickel in the metal that was used, and they were more like a stainless steel type post. And we could tell them get some of these earrings for after it's time to change it. But sometimes I would wince at that information because it really wasn't necessarily the correct thing. It was just what I needed to be doing for the job.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
How about
yeah.
noses? Could you guys do noses?
No, I don't see why not, though, technically, because I don't really think, and, at that time, if they thought it was fine to pierce cartilage, why they didn't think it was fine enough to pierce the nose. But, no, we did not, and I'm glad we didn't, knowing now what I know, because I have needle piercings, and knowing what the difference is now, but I'm surprised that the company didn't go for it.
What's funny about this job is like going back to, piercing the kids that don't want to be pierced and then the parents holding them down and stuff like that. Like, I can't even think of another less paying job that encounters like you having to harm kids and hurt them.
It's precious cargo.
While in a traumatic experience, because now their parents, who they're their protectors, are holding them down.
Also young. Also, the person doing it is very young.
Yeah. Where a person's doing it's not you're in the middle of the mall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not in any sort of medical.
Well, that's the shift they're trying to make. That's why these piercing studios, see, they all use, just like tattoo, they are trying to put the medical aspect of it higher. Like, they're trying to really, show that because of what Shayla's telling us.
Because think about it, in all other society, like, this happens at kids' pediatricians all the time, right?
But it's supposed to, because it's a doctor and he's doing something serious.
And you're giving them some sort of shot that they need for health reasons, right?
You're like lancing some sort of
It's
wound.
not the parents' vanity. Yeah, the parents' vanity is what was doing it, and sometimes it would make you really nauseous because I just need her to look more like a girl. People are calling my little one a boy. So get these pink CZ earrings and let's do this. And then you would just look at this wee one and feel like I can't possibly for this parent's vanity.
You know what? I forgot about that, Shayla. That was a thing. That was a thing. My
for no money.
No, in my age group, born in 76, 48 years old, that was a thing. If the
I'm
dad...
76 also.
Yeah, if the dad... God, it's so funny you said that. I forgot about this. If the dad, for the whitos, if the dad didn't think the girl looked feminine enough, he'd shove some earrings in her ears to force people to not say, "Oh, that's a good-looking guy there." Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, it was definitely a thing back then, and it was so important for everything to be pink and for everything to be correct in that way, which is so crazy.
What's weird, Shayla, is that just through, I guess, the natural selection of this particular job, that it wouldn't have evolved to, like, people wouldn't do this for minimum wage because it was like it was too much of a traumatic experience for such little money. So for you, like, you stayed there for quite a while. Like, it must have not been that traumatic to pierce babies and infants and kids that didn't want to get pierced. Like, you must have been, you know what I'm saying? Because if it was,
I felt like I was good. I felt like I was good at it compared to some of the other people, and I also just felt like, I don't know, like they're getting hurt, but at least they get earrings. You stub your toe, you get nothing. At least you're getting earrings. I don't know. I kind of like rationalized it some way that I don't know, because then when I did birth my daughter, I did not get her ears pierced.
Oh, that's real.
That's pretty hypocritical, I think.
And I had her while I was still the regional trainer for Claire's. And
oh my! What on company time? You could have gotten freebies.
Yeah, and I did not get her ears pierced. When Delana was old enough to ask me for it, and I was able to tell her, "Hey, it hurts," and it will hurt. It'll hurt a little bit more than a shot. Then she got them done, but I did not pierce my infant's ears.
And
so
they both still do it. Claire's and Piercing Pagoda both still do it, and the employees performing it are still minimum wage employees. Most of them get between 15 and 16.23 or 16.38.
Yeah.
I actually looked up something too, that they are piercing noses now. Claire's pierces noses with a piercing kit to make it safe and easy to get your first piercing stud.
Oh, there you go.
It's just
I want to take it home and do it yourself kit.
What a bizarre job to pierce infants' ears for minimum wage. You know what I'm saying? Like that is crazy to me.
It is weirder
that it went on. It still goes on.
It's weirder than massaging an old man for thousands.
Yeah. Because at least the old man, you're there.
Oh, I know what I'm there for.
And then she's like, he wants it. I'm providing a service or whatever.
Yeah. But this is weird. This is almost like it's a ritual. I'm putting jewels in a baby's ears. What, for the spirit?
Yeah, she's like, I have an iPhone in my pocket and I'm piercing an infant's ears as it screams. So
right.
Do they still use the gun?
I think so.
Yeah, it
I
says
mean,
here. It says here they do.
The brand of gun that we used is still for sale, and I have one, and I've still pierced people's ears when they ask me.
Yeah, they say that's actually causing the problem, and some of the listeners in the chat room were saying that the guns are now, just like anything, readily available on Amazon, so you can just go on there and find whatever you want, order your own, and you're off to the races. You don't even need to go to Claire's.
But I mean, for $15 or $20, it seems like
you can order the gun and a baby online, and you can do both at the same day.
Is there?
That's amazing, and it doesn't even have to be your baby.
That's correct. Yeah, it can be a real baby.
That's what's
any
weird
baby.
is that there wasn't some protocol where you had to be the baby's parent. Like,
yeah, we always thought that was weird. We would ask the date of birth, and when we saw somebody trying to do the math to write it on the paper and stuff, like it was like, oh no, this isn't the parent, or it's not the right age, and we would feel so awkward. But there was nothing standing behind us. Like we couldn't refuse them unless the child or the client seems like they actually couldn't take it. We could say, hey, I can't finish this piercing, like the person's hysterical or whatnot. We could only refuse it for that reason. So basically any other reason that they gave for the paper, we just had to go ahead and take it at their word. And you could tell sometimes that that's just not the situation. People would have a birthday party and bring other people's kids. And like, you could tell, like she was like, hey, what's your last name again? And write everybody's name down and just get the whole group pierced.
Can you imagine? I take your son. I take your sons and 18 little boys to piercing pagoda. They all get a gay earring. I got everybody a gay earring.
Tommy's about to have a birthday party.
Get him a dangler. I'll get one too. I'll get one.
Yeah, let's all go.
Dangler.
Yeah.
I will ride the skull dangler one more time.
Yeah, I'll bring all my friends' kids.
Yeah.
Everybody be like, who wants an ear piercing? And then I'll force them. Then I'll hold them down.
Yeah, if you don't do it, we'll shame you. We'll yell at you.
And even if you don't want it, I'll drag you in there. I'll hold you down.
That used to be a thing. You could take it out. Remember? It used to be a thing. We're like, oh, just get it. You can take it out.
Did you? Last question.
People
Shayla.
passed out. Did anybody pass out?
Did you ever refuse because the person was screaming like, no, like, then you're like, I'm sorry, I cannot do this.
Yes, so once in a while we would have to do that. But I have to say that in all my years, it was pretty rare that we would do that. Shout out to Miracle City Mall and the Volusia Mall, because I know those girls are going to listen to this.
Oh, right on. Shout out to Miracle City and Volusia Mall. What?
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Miracle City, but no Miracle City.
Something tells me it's going to take a miracle to make it better.
Titusville.
Well,
oh, yes. Titusville. Home of White Monster Energy Drink. The tastiest.
The champagne of
And
Titusville.
cartilage piercings at Claire's.
There you go. Hey, thank you for doing this, Shayla.
And you said
absolutely.
At the time, minimum wage was what now?
When I started, it was around $6 and some change, and I made a couple bucks over.
Nice.
$6.
You got the 8. That's good.
Yeah. Could you imagine doing something for an hour with taxes taken out and making $8?
They're hurting babies for $8.
I can't even get a hot dog in New York for $8.
Hey, thank you for doing this. We'll talk to you again, okay?
All right. Thank you, guys.
All
Bye.
right. Be good. He's very sweet.
I can't believe that still goes on. Nothing changed. I like that, though. I like
Claire's and Pearson Pagoda. They're holding. They're branched out. More stores than ever for Claire's. 3750, and there were 300 new stores in South America.
It is a little bit weird in the fact that you do, if you pierce your earlobe, and I guess I don't know how long you have to leave the earring in, but once you leave it in for a certain amount of time, like it becomes semi-permanent, where even if you take it out, like that hole will be there for a long time.
I have holes in my ears.
Yeah, so it's like so for a semi-permanent thing like that, it's crazy how loose the restrictions are about who you could do that to.
We don't really seem to care about our ears much, right? Like tattoos, they do.
Oh yeah.
Tattoos, they do. You can't just be screwing around with tattoos.
No. And they I think they take a harder stance on like even like
pain pills. They do. I can't even get pain pills for my hip. I can't get one pain pill for my hip. But I can take a baby. I can take someone else's baby to the mall and jack holes all in the baby.
Yeah. This guy can't. He's got a fake hip. He can't get pain pills.
I need pain pills, and I can take anyone's baby to the mall and pierce his nose like Lenny Kravitz. It's totally fine. Pierce this baby's nose. Whose baby is it? Doesn't matter. Pierce it, you maggot.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.